This story begins on the busy streets of Cebu, where the sound of traffic, footsteps, and street vendors fills the air from morning until night. Among those sounds, there is a boy. A street kid. Barefoot most days, wearing worn-out clothes, and carrying nothing but a dream too big for his circumstances. His name is not written on billboards, and his face is not known by the world, yet his voice holds a power that no one around him could ever ignore. Every day, he sang on street corners, outside small shops, and near crowded intersections. People passed him without stopping, some dropped coins, others barely noticed. But when he sang, there was something different. His voice carried pain, soul, and a deep emotion that felt far older than his years. Music was not just his escape, it was his survival. At night, when the city slowed down, he would hum songs he had learned by listening to old radios and borrowed phones. One artist stood above all others in his heart. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Elvis was more than a singer to him. Elvis was strength, rebellion, and emotion wrapped into music. He practiced those songs endlessly, copying every note, every feeling, not to imitate fame, but to feel alive. His life was not easy. Some days, there was no food. Some nights, there was no safe place to sleep. Yet every time he sang an Elvis song, the world disappeared. It was just him and the music. That voice became his shield against hunger, fear, and loneliness. Then came a moment that would change everything. A local volunteer working with underprivileged children heard him sing. She stopped, stunned, unable to move as his voice filled the street. She knew instantly that this was not ordinary talent. This was something rare. Something powerful. She recorded a short video and shared it with people who believed in giving chances to those who had none. That video traveled farther than anyone expected. From Cebu to other countries, across oceans, until it reached a blinded him for a moment. The crowd was silent. The judges watched carefully, including the man known for his honesty, his sharp words, and his high standards, Cowell. The host asked him where he was from. When he spoke about being a street kid from Cebu, the audience leaned in. His voice trembled, not from fear, but from emotion. This was his chance. One chance. No backup plan. No second audition. The music began. The opening notes of an Elvis classic echoed through the theater. At first, there was curiosity. Then disbelief. Then shock. His voice didn't sound like a child who sang on the streets. It sounded like someone who had lived a lifetime of pain and passion. Each lyric carried weight. Each note hit straight into the hearts of everyone listening. Cowell's expression changed. The confident, critical look softened into something rarely seen. Surprise. Respect. Silence. The audience began to react. Gasps. Tears. Hands over mouths. No one expected this level of soul from someone so young, someone who had come from nothing. As the song reached its climax, the emotion in his voice grew stronger. It was not perfect. It was real. Raw. Honest. And that honesty made it unforgettable. When the final note faded, there was a split second of silence. Then the theater exploded. A standing ovation. Cheers so loud they felt like thunder. People were crying openly, clapping, shouting his name even though they had just learned it minutes before. Cowell stood up. Slowly. Thoughtfully. When he spoke, his words were simple but powerful. He said that moments like this are why shows like this exist. Not for perfection, not for fame, but for voices that come from the heart. The judges praised not just his singing, but his story, his courage, and the soul behind every note. The audience knew they had witnessed something special. Something rare. Rare. For the boy from Cebu, this was more than applause. It was proof. Proof that his voice mattered. Proof that his pain had meaning. Proof that dreams born on the streets can reach the world's biggest stages. Back home, people gathered around screens to watch. Streets that once ignored him now celebrated him. Kids who lived the same life saw hope reflected in his success. Parents held their children tighter, believing a little more in impossible dreams. This performance was not just about singing Elvis. It was about survival. About never giving up even when the world turns away. About holding on to hope when everything tells you to let go. Today, his journey continues. The road ahead is still uncertain, but one thing is clear. His voice will never again be unheard. If this story moved you, if this performance reminded you why music matters, then you are exactly why our channel exists. We bring you stories that inspire, voices that deserve to be heard, and moments that restore faith in humanity. Stay with us. Share this story. Support hidden talent. Because somewhere right now, another street kid is singing into the night, waiting for the world to listen.